Welcome to Allan Reports TV. I'm your host, Allan Labucan from allanberryreports.com. So today we're putting together a show. We wanted to talk about a trend that we're noticing that has been sort of in play for almost a year now, I would say. And what that is the a gap, if you will, that's growing between the performance bullish moves in the price of gold and what gold stocks are doing. Now, we're bullish on both of these, whether it's gold or gold stocks. But I'll give you somewhat of an example here. So in the last year, we've seen gold as low as about 1,500. After it hit 1,500, it traded all the way up to 1,900. And then it's recently, let's go back to December, was trading around 1,580. Had a rally that took it all the way just about back up to 1,800. And then it's been giving back some of those gains in just about the last 30 days or so. And so during that time, at the same time that we're seeing that, we're also seeing the price of many gold stocks that are trading near their 52-week lows. And we follow a good number of companies. And now we're not just following any gold stock company. We follow a select group from major mining companies all the way down to junior exploration companies, and we've picked that group since 2005, picked a lot of really great winners. Many of the companies that we've picked are no longer exist because they were taken over by much larger companies at premium prices. So we've had a really good ability to pick high quality companies. And so the roster or group of companies that we follow, we're seeing a bunch of those companies trading less than 50% from their yearly highs. And when we see that, it's a very bullish indicator to us. And that's sort of what we wanted to get into today. So first of all, we're going to talk about the price of gold. And lately, it's been sort of, since it hit that $1,800 high earlier in, I think it was February, late February, it had been in a pullback, giving back some of its gains. And then recently, last week, we talked about how we thought it was bottoming. And we're seeing that bottoming phase is sort of, with today's action, I'm taping this on Wednesday evening, March the 28th. It's going to go out tomorrow morning, just around the time that the market opens. And so that's the action that I'm talking about. So on Wednesday, March the 28th, it came off about $26. It's testing the lows since it's been in this bottoming phase, and so it's actually tested that low a few times now. So that's usually a good sign when something goes up and then it corrects and comes back, and then it sort of finds a bottom and challenges that bottom a couple times. It's usually a pretty good sign that it's ready to rally, and so we like the short-term chances of gold to rally. We think that it's looking pretty oversold since it's since that almost $1,800 high earlier this year, and it's shaping up to be bottoming. And so, whenever we see it come off like that, 1,800 down to 1,650-ish, we always rely on the fundamentals, and in the case of gold, it's supply and demand. We've talked about this many times. The supply chain is very weak. It's getting weaker, if anything. You look around at the exploration projects out there and the new mine developments, and this is not a very strong supply chain. At the same time, you've got strong demand coming from China and India, as well as other places in the world. China and India are growing are the two most rapidly growing major economies in the world, emerging economies in the world. And as they grow their middle class. As the middle class grows, they buy more gold. A lot of this is culturally based. And so, cultures that are well ingrained like they are in those two countries don't tend to change very quickly. There's a strong appetite for gold, and as I said earlier, as it's a real status symbol to own gold, and so we think that the demand story is intact, the supply story is intact. So when we have these big pullbacks, we don't get too worried as long as those fundamentals don't change. If we felt that the demand was going to drop dramatically or supply was going to increase dramatically, then we would be worried, but we're not. We're not seeing that. And all the indicators that I'm talking about, you can sort of see what's going to happen 10 years ahead of you just by looking at what's happening with the supply chain, with the new discoveries, with mines in development. And there's nothing really that's getting too exciting on and growing the supply chain. So it looks like that's going to stay the same. We earlier this year came out with in our Outlook 2012 report that we were looking for $2,100 on the high this year and a year-end close around $2,000. We're still very comfortable with that call. And so on a longer term, sort of here to the year end, we like the trend. On a shorter term, it's looking oversold, and we think it's ready for another rally. So often when we see a rally in gold, I get the question, well, do you buy gold, or do you like gold more, or do you like gold stocks? My thing is always, I always say that you're going to get better performance out of high quality gold stocks. And because I follow high quality gold stocks so closely, I have a high comfort level with my ability to pick good performing gold stocks over gold. And so with as I see a strong gold market for the short term and for the rest of this year, then I start looking at the gold stocks. And when they're in correction mode, first of all, when I see any kind of sector that doesn't really matter the quality of the company, when they're all sort of undervalued and trading at the lower end of their yearly trading ranges, that's usually a sentiment sort of issue, not a fundamental issue. And with the companies that we follow in our general report, that we've talked a lot about a lot of companies in our email newsletter in the past, and also on our past shows, that's a bigger group than the group that we follow in our private reports that we sell. If you're interested in those private reports, just look above me at the shop section. We have a video in there that talks about the private reports. They're quite inexpensive, and there's a group of companies out of there. And the general thing between all the companies that we follow is the quality of the projects, and we try to find company. The key thing that we look for is what the truth machine, or drill rig, that's what we call it in the business, the truth machine, is telling us about the reality of a company's projects. And looking at the group of companies that we follow, they have a very strong fundamentals. They have good projects. They have good deposits. They've got good discoveries. And based on the what they have and proven with their drilling success, they're trading at relatively undervalued prices to the gold price. And so we really like the group of gold stocks that we have picked in there. But this is more specifically about a larger group of gold stocks being so oversold. And I'm not talking whether you're just talking about the small junior exploration or the middle tier companies or the major mining companies. I think there's high quality companies in all of those sizes that are significantly oversold right now. And whenever I see potential for a rally, I always like looking at things that are significantly oversold. And so when it comes to the gold stocks, I think that they are significantly oversold, and my argument for that would be the how they are trading significantly below the mid-range, 50% from their highs, and trading nearer their 52-week lows. And so I think that the sentiment is driving the price of gold stocks, not the movement of gold, which is much more bullish. Right now, there's a seems to be a lack of bullishness towards the gold stocks, and that can change quite rapidly. And it feels to us, if it was just a few companies trading below towards the end of the low end of their 52-week trading range, that's one thing. When the whole group, that's a very bullish indicator that we are close to a much more bullish trend for that group, or that has that kind of sentiment. And that's what we think we're seeing with the price of several gold stocks. And so we're bullish on we follow a specific group of gold stocks, and we're bullish on those. We're bullish on gold, and we think that if you are selective at this point in time and are bullish as we are, we think that gold is going to perform very good in the near term, and there's a very high potential. The group that we follow, we think that there's a good chance that 50 to 100% gains on average across a group that we follow before the end of the year is a very good chance. And that kind of performance is quite outstanding when you're talking about a matter of months from now. And so we think that right now, it's a good time to be looking at gold stocks. As I mentioned, they are looking very oversold right now. The sentiment is not good. This part reminds me of the most previous show we just did, when we talked about please don't follow the crowd. Well, the reason you don't want to follow the crowd is the crowd is usually wrong. And so if the crowd that follows gold stocks is all going in one direction, they're usually wrong. The fundamentals suggest to us that they're wrong, that they're undervaluing the price of many high-quality gold stocks, and we also think that there's not enough bullishness towards the price of gold right now. Now, a lot of people can talk about that they're bullish and they think that gold's going up, but it's a difference. The difference is between owning more gold and the price going up, or just thinking it will. And right now we think it's under-owned, under-loved a little bit, and the gold stocks are really under-loved, and the crowd is certainly not as bullish as we think they should be towards gold stocks. So that's what we wanted to talk about today. Before closing, we always like to stress that the show and our reports are for information purposes only. We aren't making buying or selling recommendations. It's important for you to do your own homework and speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decisions. We're always trying to grow our audience, and any efforts you make to let your friends on social media sites or through email or phone know about our reports, our website and our show is greatly appreciated. We also want to send out some thank you messages. We use youtube.com as our website to produce and broadcast our shows. Anybody interested in doing online shows, they have a great platform, really easy to use, and we highly recommend them. Also, if you look to the my left on our website, if you're watching the show on our website, just look to my left, and there's a group of banners on our website. Those companies are help us to be able to do the work that we do. It's a really good group of companies over there, and if you click on their banners, it'll take you directly to their websites where you can find plenty of information and do your homework on those companies. It's a good group of companies to check out as well. And of course, to you, the viewers, we wouldn't have a reason to do the show without you, and we thank you very much for tuning in. A couple things to mention. We started a little while ago in December our private reports. This is another sort of way that we go about gaining some revenue so we can keep doing what we do. If you're interested in learning more about those, just look above me on the website. You'll see a shows or a shop section. In the shop section, you can find details on how to find our past reports. We've done hundreds of shows, and if you're interested in watching any of our past shows, we have a shows section in the website as well, and in there we have all of our past shows. We do a little overview of what the show's about. We've talked about a lot of companies in there. So as I mentioned earlier, when I talked about the group of companies that we follow, most of them are in that shows section. Even if you don't want to watch the shows, you can go find a bunch of companies in there to do your homework on. So that was the main things we wanted to let you know about as far as our work goes. So we'll see you soon. Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.